Before we begin this night prayer, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like this video. Your support helps more hearts find comfort when they need it most. Tonight, the quiet doesn't feel gentle. The walls are still, the street outside is hushed, even the clock seems to tiptoe, and yet the hush presses in like a blanket laid wrong, covering my mouth instead of my shoulders. I look around this familiar room, and it suddenly feels larger than I can hold, as if there are miles between the lamp and the window, miles between the bed and the door, miles between the person I am and the comfort I ache for. I'm not going to pretend the silence is always soothing. Sometimes it echoes, and the echo tells me how alone I feel. So I'll name it honestly. I feel lonely in this quiet, not dramatic, not hopeless, just real. I miss a presence I can't touch. I miss the soft interruption of another voice. I miss the weight of someone settling the air beside me. My heart wants company, and when there isn't any, it starts to wonder if I did something wrong to deserve this empty room. And yet, even in that wondering, a small courage begins to wake. If I can name my loneliness, maybe I can also invite you into it. I'm speaking to you simply, without speeches and without performance. Come closer than my fear. Sit with me the way a trusted friend would, unhurried, uncritical, willing to keep company through the longest minute. Slow my thoughts until they walk instead of run. Ease the sharp questions that wake after midnight, the ones that ask if I'm too much or not enough, if the people I love really see me, if tomorrow is already disappointed in me before it begins. I don't need perfect answers. I need nearness that steadies my breathing and unknots my shoulders and lets my mind set down its heavy bags. Let your kindness be simple and almost physical. The air a shade warmer, the room a shade smaller, in the best way, the bed less like a raft on an ocean and more like a safe shore. Teach my body to feel held. Help me notice the small companions already present. The hum of the fridge that rarely quits, proof that something steady is working. The thin border of light under the door, proof that darkness has edges. The familiar weight of the blanket across my legs, proof that I have survived other nights and will survive this one too. Bless the ordinary things. The door frame and the window latch and the corner where shadows gather. The nightstand that keeps my water glass. The soft, worn pillow that has learned the shape of my resting. Turn these pieces of a room into signs that love is here. Guard this space from the lies that sneak in when it's late and quiet. The lie that I am forgettable, the lie that I must earn care, the lie that my needs are a burden, the lie that loneliness is failure. Give me truer words to answer with. I am seen. I am allowed to be human. I am worth sitting with. I am not alone. And as I speak those truths, let them become more than words. Let them settle into me the way dusk settles into a lake. No splash, just a soft widening calm. Put a chair beside my bed in the imagination of my heart, and let me sense you there, elbows on your knees, not rushing me past my own pace. I picture you listening without impatience, letting the minutes be what they are, and somehow the minutes stop feeling as heavy. I picture your hand, steady and open, offering courage, big enough for one breath at a time. If sleep arrives, I will welcome it without fear, and if wakefulness lingers, I will still choose rest by leaning back into your nearness and letting my breathing find a peaceful rhythm. I don't have to solve my whole life before morning. I only have to be here, honest and held. Make this home, this very room, a safe place tonight, not because the furniture changes, but because your care is present. Shrink the miles inside these walls until the lamp and the window, the bed and the door, and the space inside my chest feel close enough to hold. Let the quiet become company. Let the shadows become softer shapes. Let my heart learn, even in this stillness, that I belong to love, and love is not leaving. It's strange, how quiet can feel different from night to night. Sometimes it's a gift, soft, restful, almost sacred. But other times, like tonight, it feels like absence, like something is missing, and I can't name exactly what. The silence doesn't comfort me. It stretches out, and I stretch with it, thin and restless. I keep hoping for a sound, any sound, to break the tension. A distant car, a dog bark, even the creak of an old pipe. But when the silence stays unbroken, I start to notice the ache inside me more clearly. It's not just the quiet outside, it's the quiet inside that unsettles me. A quiet that feels like no one's listening, like I could cry and no one would know, like I could fall asleep and no one would notice I was ever awake. I want to feel like I matter tonight, not in a loud, dramatic way, but in a simple, human way. I want to know that my existence has weight, even in this quiet room where no one else is watching. I want to believe you see me here, not just in a vague spiritual sense, but in a deeply personal one. That you know the very thoughts that tremble just under the surface. That you notice how tightly I'm holding my pillow, not because it helps, but because it's the closest thing to a presence. That you know how many times I've shifted in bed tonight, hoping one new position might finally bring peace. I want to believe you're far off, in the heavens, too grand to care, but close, so close you could sit on the floor beside me and rest your hand near mine without saying a word. I won't pretend to be braver than I am. I won't try to be someone who isn't affected by loneliness. I've carried it long enough to know how heavy it can be, even if it's invisible to everyone else. Sometimes it sneaks up quietly. Sometimes it's loud from the moment the sun goes down. Sometimes I feel fine until I turn off the light, and then it hits like a wave. But I'm tired of pretending that I don't feel what I feel. I want to name it, not so I can stay in it forever, but so that I can ask you to enter it with me. Maybe it's not the loneliness itself that breaks me. Maybe it's the idea that no one sees it. But if you do, if you truly do, then maybe tonight is not empty after all. So I let the loneliness speak without shame. I let it breathe. I let it be real. And in the space it opens up, I ask for you not to fix me, not to fill every silence with noise, but to simply sit with me here, to let my heartbeat fall into rhythm with something steadier, to remind me that my soul is not abandoned, that even now, in the stillness, I am wrapped in a greater presence than I can see, that my quiet room is not a punishment but a pause, and you are not far. Let your nearness be the answer to the questions that feel too fragile to speak. Let your love be the weight that anchors me when everything else feels loose. Let your peace be the whisper that breaks the hush with something warm, something kind. Let this room be your room tonight. Let this bed be a place of safety, not just sleep. Let my breathing slow, not because I've shut down, but because I've finally felt safe enough to let go. And if I wake again later, or if I never fall fully asleep, don't leave. Stay through the turning hours. Stay through the deep breaths and the anxious thoughts. Stay when I close my eyes and when I open them again in the dark. Stay when I reach for peace and feel nothing but the air. Let your presence become the air. Let it fill the space that loneliness once claimed. Let it remind me that being alone is not the same as being forgotten. So I stay here, breathing, waiting, not in despair but in trust. The silence still stretches, but something inside me is softening. I think maybe that something is hope, not the loud kind that makes promises, but the quiet kind that simply believes you are near, that even this night matters to you, that even my whispered prayers reach somewhere real, and that maybe, just maybe, this quiet will carry not just emptiness, but you. There's something sacred about admitting how much we long for presence. Not attention, not applause, just the quiet, reassuring presence of someone who stays. I think that's what I miss most on nights like this. It's not that I need to talk or even be touched. It's just that I want to be near someone who sees me and decides I'm worth sitting with. I want that nearness to wrap itself around my tired spirit and remind me that being alive, breathing, aching, hoping is enough for love to reach me. I want you to be that presence tonight, not as an idea or a belief, but as a felt truth, as real as the cool air on my face or the weight of my blanket. I'm not asking for a sign or a miracle. I'm asking for nearness that doesn't rush me through the ache. Loneliness does strange things to the heart. It doesn't shout, it whispers. It weaves itself into moments so gently that I barely notice until I feel hollow. A cup poured out, a room dimmed, a heartbeat echoing too loudly in the quiet. They don't always know what triggers it. Maybe it's a memory. Maybe it's a day spent smiling while no one asked how I really was. Maybe it's nothing more than the absence of noise. But whatever it is, I feel it. And in this silence, I need you to meet me without judgment, without expectation. Just be here. Just let me breathe in the awareness that you are not distant, not watching from above, but right here, within reach of my deepest need. I don't want to rush past this feeling, not because I enjoy it, but because something happens when I let myself be honest in it. I start to remember that my emotions don't disqualify me from love. I start to believe that you are drawn not to the mask I wear, but to the truth I carry. The loneliness itself becomes the place where connection can begin. And so, I sit with it tonight, not to wallow in sadness, but to welcome you into the space I usually try to fill with noise or distraction. This is not about fixing everything. It's about not hiding. It's about saying, here I am, lonely and alive. Be with me. I imagine you moving through the quiet of this room with no need to rearrange anything. You don't scold me for feeling what I feel. You don't rush to silence my thoughts. You just sit with me in the kind of companionship that doesn't need words. The kind of love changes things. It doesn't erase the silence, but it makes it bearable. It doesn't fill the room with people, but it fills the room with peace. It reminds me that I was never meant to carry my ache alone. That even when my phone is quiet and the world forgets to check in, you are still here, present, steady, unfazed by my emotional mess. Let this stillness become less of a mirror and more of a doorway. Not a mirror that reflects only emptiness, but a doorway into the deeper truth that I am not forgotten, that I am not unloved, that even when the night is long and no one texts and the world is asleep, you are holding vigil beside me. You do not get tired of showing up. You do not need a reason to care. You come because you love, and that love is not conditional on how strong or cheerful I am. It's here, even in my quiet breaking. So I breathe again and again, and with each breath, I imagine a little more of the fear leaving, a little more of the ache softening, a little more of the loneliness finding room to be held instead of hidden. I don't know what tomorrow will bring. I don't even know what the next hour will feel like. But for now, I choose to rest in the belief that this quiet is not the enemy. It's the invitation. The space you fill when everything else is still. Stay here, Lord, not just beside me, but within me. Stay when my thoughts wander. Stay when my emotions swell and settle. Stay when I question whether I matter. Stay when I forget that you already said I do. Let the loneliness become less sharp, not because it disappears, but because I'm no longer trying to bear it alone. Let me fall asleep tonight with the awareness that someone has seen the rawness of my heart and stayed anyway. Let me carry that assurance into my dreams, and if dreams don't come, into my resting. Let this night teach me that solitude can still be sacred when shared with love. Some nights I pretend the quiet doesn't bother me. I let the room sit still and act like I'm fine, like I've grown used to the way the walls don't answer and the air doesn't change. No matter how deeply I sigh, I keep scrolling, keep switching songs, keep fluffing the pillow or folding the blanket as if I'm busy enough to outrun the silence. But eventually, everything slows down. The phone goes dark. The music fades. The room settles again. And so do my thoughts. And in that moment, when everything else has let go, I feel it again. That weight that's not physical, but still presses on my chest. That ache of being alone in a space that used to feel warm but now just feels wide. And so, tonight, I won't pretend. I won't distract or downplay or deny it. I'll just say it like it is. This night feels long, and I feel small in it. I want someone to be here, not to talk, not to solve, just to sit in the quiet with me. And if no one else can or will, then I ask you to be that someone. Sit with me, Lord, not as an idea of vague comfort, but as a you, soul, deep presence, as close as breath, as steady as heartbeat, as kind as silence can be when it's filled with love. I don't need loud miracles. I don't even need answers. What I need is to stop feeling invisible when the lights go out. I need to know that even when no one's checking in or reaching out, I still matter. That my prayers are not echoes lost in space, but real cries caught by someone who listens with care. I need to know that my sadness doesn't disqualify me from peace, that my loneliness doesn't push you away, but invites you closer. So here I am, letting go of the need to be okay, and instead, just being real. Let my honesty be the open door for your comfort. Let my vulnerability be the place where love meets me. Let this quiet be something you enter, not something I have to escape. And if you're already here, which I want to believe you are, then help me feel, help me rest in the quiet without fearing it. Help me notice the small signs of your presence, the gentle rustle of the curtain, the creak of the floorboard, the softness of the sheets against my skin. Let each of these be reminders that even in solitude, I am surrounded. Even in silence, I am heard. You know how long I've carried this ache. You know the nights I've cried without sound. You know the mornings I've woken up with that same heaviness sitting in my chest. You know the words I don't know how to speak, and the thoughts I try to hide even from myself. And yet, you don't turn away. You never flinch. You never say, that's too much. You just stay. That's what I need tonight. A love that stays. A presence that doesn't leave when the room gets quiet. A peace that isn't threatened by my need. Wrap this room in that kind of love. Not a fixing kind. Not a rushing kind, but a staying kind. Let it sit with me as I sit in the hush. Let it touch my heart in places I've kept hidden, even from myself. Let it speak without words and soothe without pressure. Let it be gentle, like a hand held near but not forced. Let it be real, like a steady rhythm that grounds me. Let that truth settle in me like soft rain on dry ground. Let it sink deep, deeper than the fear, deeper than the ache, until all that's left is rest. Not perfect rest, maybe, but real rest, honest rest. The kind that says, I don't have to hold it all tonight. I can set it down. I can breathe. I can be. And if the loneliness still lingers, I will not call it failure. I will call it the place where I meet you, where I learn to feel without fear, where I discover that even emptiness can be holy when it's shared with you. I think what makes the night so difficult sometimes is not just the absence of sound, but the absence of response. It's not just that it's quiet, it's that I whisper something into the darkness and nothing whispers back. And in that space, I start to wonder if I've become too invisible for even heaven to notice. I know that's not what I'm supposed to believe. I know you're not far. I know you never leave, but it's hard to hold that truth when everything around me feels like a closed door, when every creak and every sigh of the walls only reminds me how alone I feel inside them. I don't need grand gestures, God. I need quiet proof. I need soft reminders. I need a presence that doesn't vanish when I close my eyes. So I won't try to pray the right way tonight. I won't wrap my ache in formal words or polished requests. I'll just be here, tired, lonely, honest. I'll just say what I feel without dressing it up in anything fancy. I feel alone in this quiet, and I don't want to feel this way forever. I want to believe that this stillness holds more than emptiness, that it holds you. Come and be what I need, even when I don't know how to ask for it. Come like a hush that brings peace, not heaviness. Come like a weight that steadies, not burden. Come and sit near, not just in theory, not in some unreachable realm, but here, where my feet are, where my pillow is, where my breath stumbles in the dark. I want to feel you the way a child feels the presence of someone who watches over them while they sleep. I want to rest with the knowing that I am not as alone as I fear. There's a kind of tenderness I long for, one that doesn't make noise but makes a difference. A tenderness that fills the room not with noise but with warmth, that tells my bones they can stop bracing, that tells my thoughts they can stop racing, that tells my heart it's still safe to hope even after nights like this, because you're here. You're here in the very center of what I think is too small to matter to you. You're here in my quiet ache, in my restless turning, in the questions I'm too tired to finish asking. I keep hearing that I should be stronger, that I should know better, that I should have outgrown this need to be held in the middle of the night. But I don't think I'll ever outgrow it, and I don't think you expect me to. I think you already know this about me, that my soul still cries out in the silence, that my heart still reaches something steady when everything else fades. I think you're not ashamed of my need. I think you're drawn to it. I think you sit with me here because love doesn't need a reason to stay. Let that love shape the space around me tonight. Let it soften the shadows. Let it slow my breath. Let it make this room feel less like a hollow and more like a shelter. Let it fold into my tired limbs and remind me that even now, especially now, I am not forgotten, that the quiet isn't empty. It's just waiting for me to notice the presence that's already here. And if I sleep, let it be the kind of sleep that heals, not just the body, but the soul. And if I lie awake, let it be with less fear and more trust, less grasping and more resting, less proving and more receiving. Because you are not a presence that needs to be earned. You are a presence that arrives with grace. You are the one who stays. Let me believe that tonight, not because someone else told me, not because I'm trying to convince myself, but because something deep inside me knows love like yours doesn't disappear. Just because the world gets quiet, it draws closer, it holds on, it remains. And maybe that's all I need to remember as I close my eyes. There's something in me tonight that just wants to be understood, not explained away, not reassured with perfect words, just quietly understood, seen without having to speak, known without needing to prove. It's hard to admit that out loud, even here in the dark, even in a prayer. But I think that's the root of my ache tonight. Not just the silence, not just the stillness, but the deep longing to be known in it, fully, softly, without fixing, without pressure. I'm not even asking for the loneliness to be removed. I'm just asking for it to be shared. Because that's what makes the quiet unbearable. Not that it's empty, but that it feels like I'm the only one inside it. That I'm sitting in this room like a forgotten song waiting to be heard again. But if you're here and if you're listening, not just to my words, but to my breath, my tension, my pauses, then maybe this silence is not abandonment. Maybe it's space being held for something sacred to unfold. Maybe it's not about what I hear, but about what I'm invited to feel. And slowly, that changes something in me. Not everything, not all at once, but a little. Enough. Enough to breathe deeper. Enough to stop fighting the hush. Enough to notice that maybe I'm not invisible after all. Maybe I'm just waiting to be reminded that presence doesn't always come with sound. That sometimes it's in the stillness that the deepest truths arrive. I keep thinking about the way light moves through a room just before morning. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't demand attention. It just begins. Quietly, softly, silently. And yet it changes everything. That's what I'm asking for tonight. Not noise, not a fix, just a presence that shifts the atmosphere inside me. A holy hush. A warmth that doesn't say anything but means everything. Be that light in my silence, Lord. Be that soft arrival in the dark. Let me feel your nearness like a slow, steady dawn spreading through the corners of my mind. Let it reach the places where fear still curls up tight. Let it wrap around the memories that ache. Let it move gently, kindly, so that nothing in me feels forced to heal, but everything in me is invited to rest. And if I can't rest yet, if my thoughts still wander, or my chest still tightens, or my eyes still sting, then stay anyway. Don't leave just because I haven't found peace yet. I'm not asking you to make the night shorter. I'm asking you to make the night softer, to help me walk through it, knowing I don't walk alone. Let that be my lullaby tonight. Not music, not words, but the quiet confidence that someone is with me, that someone cares, that someone will sit here as long as it takes for my spirit to unclench, for my fear to ease, for my body to loosen its grip on the day. Let me fall asleep, not because I escaped the quiet, but because I stopped being afraid of it. Let this be the kind of night where I learn gently, patiently, that even when I feel most unseen, I am deeply, eternally known. And that kind of knowing, it changes the air. It changes me. I don't know why the quiet feels heavier some nights than others. The world outside hasn't changed. The walls haven't moved. The same furniture sits in the same places. But inside me, something shifts. And suddenly the hush that used to feel gentle now feels full of questions. Not loud ones, just persistent. Quiet questions that knock with no urgency but never leave. Does anyone see me? Am I really cared for? If I disappeared into this silence, who would notice? I don't think I'm asking these because I want attention. I think I'm asking them because I want a connection. Real connection. The kind that exists even in stillness. The kind that stays without needing to be called. And you, God, you say you stay. You say you are near to the broken-hearted, near to the lonely, near to the ones who lie in bed in a quiet room and wonder if anyone even knows what they carry. So I want to believe that tonight, not just agree with it, not just repeat it, I want to feel it deep in my bones. I want to know that even if I close my eyes and say nothing else, you're still near. That I don't have to keep performing, keep explaining, keep holding up my strength like a mask. That I can be fully undone and still fully loved. I'm not asking you to change my circumstances tonight. I'm just asking you to hold me in them. To let your presence be the cushion between me and the ache. To let your tenderness sit quietly where no one else can sit. To hold space for me, not with solutions, but with presence. That's what I crave more than anything. The kind of presence that doesn't fill the silence with noise, but makes the silence feel less lonely. Because the truth is, I don't need noise to feel better. I don't need a crowd or even conversation. I just need to know I'm not walking through this alone. That when I turn off the light and close my eyes, I'm not vanishing into a void. I'm being watched over. I'm being accompanied. I'm being known in ways that even I can't put into words. And when that truth starts to land in me, it's like a quiet warmth starts to rise. Not a blazing fire, just a slow, steady glow. The kind that doesn't scare the night away, but sits beside it like a friend. The kind that doesn't demand change, but gently shifts the atmosphere. I want that kind of warmth tonight. I want that kind of nearness, the kind that turns a quiet, empty room into sacred ground. The kind that reminds me I am not forgotten. I am not too much. I am not too quiet or too broken or too needy. I am simply human, and I am loved exactly as I am, in this exact place, with this exact ache. You're not waiting for me to become more cheerful. You're not asking me to be stronger. You're not disappointed in my tiredness. You just want to be near, and that, if I let it sink in, might be the most healing thing of all. So I'll let the silence become a meeting place. I'll stop running from it and instead open it like a door. Come in. Be with me. Sit on the edge of the bed. Touch nothing. Change nothing. Just stay. Let your presence settle over me like a blanket that fits just right. Let it fill the cracks in the walls of my heart. Let it reach the corners of my thoughts where doubt and sorrow still hide. Let it remind that even here, in this strange and sacred hush, I am not alone, not even a little, not for a second. And if the night feels long again tomorrow, if the silence returns like a tide, I'll come back to this place. I'll come back to this prayer. I'll come back to this prayer. I'll come back to you, not because I know exactly how to find peace, but because I know who waits for me in the quiet. You do. And you don't grow tired of meeting me here. There's a stillness tonight that wraps itself around everything. It lingers on the walls, sits in the folds of the blanket, hangs in the corners of the room, and yet for all the calm it might offer, my heart doesn't receive it easily. It hesitates. It waits for something to interrupt it, a sound, a presence, a hand reaching out. But the room stays the same, and in that sameness, I feel the ache again, that particular kind of loneliness that doesn't scream, doesn't demand, but simply exists like a shadow at the edge of light. I don't want to fight it tonight. I don't want to outrun it or silence it. I just want to hold it gently and offer it to you, because this is a part of being human, isn't it? This yearning for someone to share the quiet with, not to speak into it, not to fix it, just to be with me in it. I think that's the core of my prayer tonight, not for change, not for answers, but for company, for the kind of love that doesn't leave when I run out of words, for the kind of presence that doesn't disappear when I fall silent, for the kind of care that feels like a steady hand resting near mine, needing nothing from me except my being here. It is, I keep imagining you like that, near, not pacing, not impatient, not distracted, but still, attentive, present, aware of everything I carry without needing me to explain any of it. I imagine you sitting in the quiet, not afraid of it the way I sometimes am, letting the silence speak, letting the loneliness be what it is, without shame, because you don't require me to hide my emptiness to be worthy of your love. You don't need me to brighten up to be welcome. You step into this quiet, not with judgment, but with tenderness. And that image, more than anything else, softens me tonight. So I breathe slower. I let the room stay quiet. I let the ache in my chest loosen just a little. I don't rush to fill the space with distractions. I just let it be what it is. A place where I can be with you without masks, without effort. Just a person needing presence. A soul reaching for something steady. A heart willing to be seen in the most vulnerable way. Let this be enough. Not the prayers I should be praying, not the posture I'm supposed to have. Just this willingness to let you sit with me in my need. Let that be worship. Let that be Gedek. Let that be the beginning of healing. I don't need you to tell me what comes next. I don't even need you to speak. I just need to know you're staying, that when the lights go out and the night stretches long, you're not going anywhere. That my loneliness doesn't scare you, that my sadness doesn't push you away, that the quiet doesn't make you forget me. If anything, maybe it draws you closer. So I'll meet you here again, in this same room, in this same stillness. I'll keep returning until the quiet feels less like a threat and more like a doorway into something holy, a doorway into comfort that doesn't a doorway into the kind of love that holds me even when I have nothing left to give in return. I'm learning that it's okay not to rush the night, that there's something sacred even in the parts of it that stretch too long, in the hours that feel like they'll never end. There's something about this slow unfolding of time, this stillness that refuses hurry, that teaches me how to sit with myself and with you in ways I never do when the world is loud and fast. It's here, in the quiet that lingers, where I start to notice things I usually miss. The sound of my breath, the rhythm of my heart, the way my shoulders soften just a little when I remember I'm not carrying all of this alone. And still, the loneliness creeps in. Not like a storm, not with force, but like a gentle ache that never really leaves. It doesn't scream, it just exists, steady and uninvited. And yet, I want to believe it's not wasted, that even this ache has something to teach me, maybe about what it means to be human, maybe about what it means to long for more than this world can offer, maybe even about what it means to be loved in my emptiest spaces, not because I've earned it, but because I'm yours. So I lie here, still, letting the silence stretch, letting the ache speak, letting my soul breathe. I'm not trying to fix anything right now. I'm not trying to escape what I feel. I'm just here, and I'm letting you be here with me. I'm letting your love be enough tonight, not your answer, not your timing, just your presence, just the quiet miracle of you choosing to stay. And maybe that's what changes everything, not the silence itself, but who sits with me in it. If you're here, really here, then this room isn't just empty space, it's holy ground. If you're here, then my loneliness isn't proof of failure, it's proof of need. And maybe the need itself is a doorway to connection, a place where grace enters softly and makes a home in the hollow places. You know the stories I hold but haven't told, the memories I carry that still sting in the middle of the night. You know the things I wish I could forget, the words I wish I could unhear, the versions of myself I try to silence. And still, you stay. Still, you call me beloved. Still, you whisper peace into the parts of me I've buried too deep for anyone else to reach. There is no corner of my heart you are afraid of, no silence you can't sit with, no darkness that dims your light. So let your nearness keep doing what it does, softening, quieting, holding. Let it stretch into every inch of this room until I feel like I can breathe again, until I don't have to brace myself against the quiet, but can lean into it with trust, with gentleness, with hope, because you are here. And your love is not loud, but it is faithful, not flashy, but it is constant, not always felt, but always present. So stay with me, God, in this quiet, in this ache, in this in-between place where I'm not sure what I need, but I know I need you. And if I sleep, let it be wrapped in the truth that I am not alone. And if I don't, let it still be rest to my soul, because you're here, because you never left, because love like yours doesn't walk away just because I feel empty. It draws closer, and somewhere in this quiet, I've stopped needing all the answers. I think that's one of the quietest miracles of nights like this. Not that everything gets fixed, but that I start to realize not everything needs to be. I start to feel the difference between fixing and feeling, between solving and being. And the longer I sit in this hush with you, the more I understand how sacred it is to simply be seen without being rushed, to be held without being hurried into healing, to be understood without needing to explain. And maybe that's what I've been aching for all along, not just for someone to sit with me, but for someone to not be afraid of my silence, to not try to fill it, to not try to push it away, but to honor it, to enter it, to keep me company in it. You do that. You've been doing it long before I had the words to ask for it. You've been here, sitting with me in the ache, in the space between questions and peace, in the soft moments where nothing dramatic happens, but something holy unfolds. And I feel it now, the shift, not loud, not sudden, just quiet, steady awareness. I'm still lonely, maybe, but I'm not as alone, and that makes all the difference. The silence hasn't changed, but something inside me has. It's softer, slower, less afraid. I no longer feel like I have to resist the quiet. I can breathe in it. I can rest in it. I can let it hold me instead of haunt me. I think of all the nights before this, when I turned away from the stillness, when I tried to outpace the hush with distractions or noise or busyness. I think of how I tried to hide from this feeling because I believed it was proof of my weakness. But now I see it differently. Loneliness isn't failure. It's just a signpost pointing to the need for connection. And when I bring that need to you, it doesn't make me small. It makes me real, honest, human, love. There's a sacredness in naming what hurts without shame, in saying, this is heavy, and believing you'll sit with me in the weight, in saying, I feel invisible, and trusting you already see me. I don't have to minimize what I feel. I don't have to call it something else to make it easier to carry. I just have to bring it to you. And you receive it like a gift, not a burden, never a burden. My heart, raw and tired and aching, is safe with you. Let that truth sink deeper now. Let it settle into the quiet corners of my mind. Let it shape the way I lie here, the way I breathe, the way I release this day. Let it be enough that I don't have to perform for love, that I don't have to fill the silence to matter, that I don't have to pretend I'm okay just to feel worthy of care. You are not asking for perfection tonight. You are not asking for polished prayers or tidy thoughts. You are asking for presence, mine, as it is. You are offering presence, yours, as it has always been. And in this exchange, something gentle happens, a kind of peace that doesn't ignore the ache, but meets it, a kind of hope that doesn't cancel out the loneliness, but cradles it, a kind of love that doesn't need noise to be known. So I'll lie here a little longer, letting that love surround me, letting it hold my questions, letting it soothe the places I've tried to harden just to make it through, letting it tell me the truth again. I am not alone. Not now. Not here. Not in this quiet. Because you are here. You are staying, and that changes everything. Tonight, I don't need the noise to go away. I just need the fear around the silence to soften. I need to stop bracing every time the quiet grows deeper, as if it's going to swallow me whole. I want to stop interpreting this hush as emptiness and start receiving it as invitation. Because when I sit with it long enough, when I breathe through the weight and wait with honesty, I begin to hear something underneath it all. Not a voice, not words, just something steady, something alive, something that feels like you. It's hard to describe, but it's real, like warmth from a fire you can't see, like the comfort of a presence you don't need to look at to know it's there. You don't barge into the silence. You don't force it to change. You just step inside it with me and bring a kind of companionship I didn't know I could have. You don't try to explain my loneliness away. You honor it. You treat it with care. And that makes all the difference. Because what I've realized is that being lonely doesn't mean I'm unloved. It just means I'm human. It just means I'm wired for presence. And while not every kind of presence is always available, yours is. And yours is enough to carry me through this night. Not because it makes everything suddenly feel light, but because it shares the weight. So I stop trying to resist it. I stop fighting the silence like it's an enemy. I let it be what it is, a canvas. You step onto a space you choose to fill, not with noise, but with nearness. You don't rush in to make me feel better. You don't fix what I'm not ready to let go of. You just, and in that staying, I begin to soften. There's no performance here, no checklist, just me and you, just this night, just this moment. And in this moment, I feel seen. I feel known in ways no one else can quite manage. Not because they don't love me, but because they're not you. Only you can hear the things I never say out loud. Only you can hold the ache that has no name. Only you can look straight into the parts of me I try to hide and call them worthy of love. Let this be enough tonight. Let it be enough to know that nothing about me is too much for you. Not my silence, not my sorrow, not my longing to be held, not my confusion about why some nights hurt more than others. Let it be enough that I don't have to tidy myself up before you'll come close. You're already close. You're already here. You always were. So I let my body relax a little more. I let my thoughts drift without fear. I stop trying to make the night productive. I let it be a resting place. I let it be slow. I let it be sacred. This is holy ground, not because it's perfect, but because you are here. You are near to the broken-hearted, near to the weary, near to the one lying awake, wondering if they matter. You whisper, you do, and somehow that whisper fills the whole room. Let it echo through the night until my spirit starts to believe it. Let it settle over me like a soft blanket. Let it follow me into sleep, if sleep comes. Or if it doesn't, let it walk with me through the hours like a steady companion, not rushing, not correcting, just being, just staying. You don't leave when the world falls quiet. You don't disappear when I stop speaking. You don't forget me when the lights go out. If anything, you draw closer. You come near in the ways that matter most. Not flashy, not loud, just faithful. So I trust this silence a little more tonight. I trust what's being shaped in it. I trust what's being healed in me through it. And I rest, not because I've figured everything out, but because I've remembered that I don't have to figure it out alone. The night feels different when I stop resisting it. It no longer feels like something to survive, but something to surrender to. Not in defeat, not in hopelessness, but in softness, in trust, in letting go of the tight grip I've kept on every emotion I didn't know how to hold. The quiet isn't chasing me anymore. It's inviting me. It's not cold. It's not cruel. It's just still. And in that stillness, something inside me shifts, not dramatically. Not all at once, but slowly, gently, like fog lifting from the edge of a lake, like light finding its way through a crack in the curtain, like love showing up without needing an entrance. This room hasn't changed, but the way I feel in it has. My breathing is slower. My shoulders don't feel like armor. My thoughts are no longer trying to outpace the ache. They're just here. They're allowed to be here. And so am I. No fixing. No proving. Just be. I'm beginning to believe that maybe this is where healing begins. Not in the answers I don't have, but in the presence that never left. You didn't leave me when the tears came. You didn't walk away when I fell silent. You didn't need me to explain my loneliness for you to recognize it. You just stayed. And the longer I sit in that truth, the more I start to trust it. The more I begin to feel the way love can exist without needing to shout, how it can be steady, gentle, unmoving, present in the quiet, the way a tree is present in the wind, strong without trying to be, here without asking to be noticed. So I lie back. I rest in that nearness. I give myself permission to stop scanning the room for what's missing. I start to feel what's actually here. The softness of the blanket, the subtle rhythm of my breath, the quiet within the quiet that starts to feel like peace. It's not loud, it's not even constant, but it's there. A flicker, a pulse, a promise that I'm not alone in this quiet. I never was. You're not waiting for me to snap out of this. You're not demanding joy before you offer comfort. You're meeting me right here in the middle of the ache, the silence, the uncertainty. And that changes everything. It doesn't make me forget the loneliness. It doesn't erase it, but it holds it with me. It makes space for me to rest inside it, not be crushed by it. It turns the quiet into something kind. So I breathe again and again. Each breath a small act of trust. Each breath a prayer that doesn't need words. Each breath a way of saying, stay with me, God, and knowing you already are. You're in this stillness. You're in this moment. You're in this body that's learning it. Doesn't have to be tense to be safe. You're in this heart that's slowly remembering what love feels like when it's unconditional. I don't need to earn it tonight. I don't need to get better first. I don't need to be cheerful or grateful or strong. I just need to be here, and you'll be here with me. That's the promise. That's the peace. That's what steadies me. So, if I fall asleep now, let it be in that awareness. Let it be in the comfort of a love that watches over me without demanding anything in return. And if I stay awake a little longer, let it be with less fear and more softness. Let me be cradled in this quiet. Let me be reminded that nothing is required of me except presence, that I'm already enough, already held, already seen. It's a strange kind of comfort, realizing that I don't have to escape the night. I don't have to rush toward morning just to feel okay again. There's a sacredness here, in this quiet, in this hour when everything is still and the world has stopped asking things of me. For the first time, all day, I don't have to perform. I don't have to explain myself. I don't have to smile if I don't feel like it. I can just be. And more than that, I can be met here, not judged, not measured, met fully and gently. That's what I'm learning to receive. A kind of presence that doesn't need me to be anything other than what I am right now. You're not waiting for me to shift the mood. You're not asking me to push through. You're not disappointed in how quiet I've become. If anything, you draw nearer in the hush, and the longer I sit with that, the more it feels like a gift. Because so much of life asks me to be loud, to be certain, to be strong. But here, in this silent space between one breath and the next, you ask only for honesty. And that's what I have to give tonight. The honesty of feeling a little worn, a little hollow, a little tired of being so alone in my own thoughts. The honesty of wanting to be close to someone and not knowing how to ask. The honesty of saying, God, I don't know how to do this without you. And you don't pull away. You don't sigh or shake your head. You just stay. That's the most healing thing you ever do. You stay through the pauses, through the emptiness, through the questions I'm afraid to voice. You don't rush me. You don't try to fix the silence with noise. You just let me know that I'm not sitting in it by myself. So I let this quiet become something softer, less like a void, more like a space being held. I stop measuring time by the clock and start measuring it by how many times I can return to this truth. I'm not alone. I never was. Not in the early hours. Not in the aching stillness. Not when I wake up and the sky is still dark. You're here. Still. Always. And that means I can release my grip on the fear. I can stop scanning for something to fill the space. I can stop blaming myself for the way loneliness feels. It's not a flaw. It's just part of being human. It's just part of living with an open heart. And in your presence, even loneliness can be transformed, not erased, but carried differently, not ignored, but softened. So I offer you all of it. The weight I've been trying to balance on my own, the quiet ache that lingers even on good days, the fear that maybe this space will always feel too big. I place it all in your hands, not so you can make it disappear, but so you can remind me that you're already holding it, that you've been holding me all along. Let me rest in that tonight. Let me lie back into the kind of peace that doesn't come from having answers, but from knowing I'm not abandoned. Let me believe that even here, even now, even in the silence, I am loved fully, without condition, without end. And if I wake again later, with the ache still there, let me meet it with compassion instead of shame. Let me whisper again, God, stay with me, and let that be enough. Let your presence be the quiet companion I've always needed but didn't know how to name. Let it follow me into sleep, into dreaming, into the slow return of morning light. I think sometimes I've believed that being alone at night is a kind of failure, as if I should have done more to avoid this feeling, should have made better choices, should have filled my life with more people, or more purpose, or more noise. But you don't speak that way. You never shame me for my loneliness. You never treat my empty spaces as problems to be solved. You sit in them with me, and that somehow makes them holy. Tonight, I feel the gift of that. I feel the quiet turning into something warmer, not because anything outside of me has changed, but because your presence has touched something deep inside. I no longer feel like I have to brace against the silence. Let that difference keep settling in. Let it spread like warmth under the skin, like light behind closed eyelids, like the sense that I'm finally safe enough to let go. Not because I have the answers, but because I don't need them all at once. Not because everything feels okay, but because you've promised that being with me matters more than making things feel perfect, and you always keep your promises. So I rest in that now. I let my body soften again. I let my mind slow down. I let my chest rise and fall without urgency. I let the quiet stay. It doesn't frighten me like it used to. It's no longer a threat. It's a resting place. Because you're in it. Because you're making something sacred out of what once felt empty. Because this silence is no longer evidence that nothing is happening. It's the space where everything begins. And even if sleep doesn't come right away, even if the hours still feel long, I will remember this. I am not sitting here unnoticed. I am not breathing into a void. I am seen. I am held. I am kept company by a love that does not depend on performance. A love that knows how to sit in stillness. A love that doesn't rush the process of peace. A love that simply stays. Let this be enough tonight. Not the promise that I'll never feel lonely again. Not the assurance that tomorrow will be easier. Just this. The truth that you are with me now. That you are not disappointed by my ache. that you are not bored by my silence, that you are not waiting for me to get it together before you'll come close. So I won't rush. I won't rise too soon. I'll linger in this moment, in this room, in this softness you've created out of stillness, and I'll let that be my peace. I'll let that be my prayer. I'll let that be the lullaby that wraps itself around me, even if the night continues. You are here, and I am not alone. It's late now, that kind of late where the world has settled so deep into sleep that even the shadows feel still. There's no traffic hum, no footsteps in the hall, just the quiet hum of things that don't sleep, the fridge in the next room, the occasional groan of wood adjusting to the coolness of night, and the sound of my own breath, soft and shallow. There's nothing left to distract me. And maybe that's why it all feels so loud inside. Not with sound, but with everything I haven't had time to feel all day. The loneliness I brushed aside, the questions I left unanswered, the ache that always finds its way back when the world grows still. But I don't want to hide from it tonight. I've done that before, buried myself in tasks and timelines and background noise until the quiet couldn't catch up with me. But not tonight. Tonight, I'm here, fully. And it's hard. It's uncomfortable. But it's also honest, and maybe that's what I need more than comfort right now. Honesty. The kind that says, yes, I feel alone, and doesn't try to cover it up. The kind that lets me whisper the truth and trust that you're not scared of it, that you won't turn away just because I'm not full of joy or strength or certainty. You're still here, aren't you? Even in this heavy quiet, even in this moment when I can't fake cheerfulness or optimism or confidence, you haven't left. You don't leave. You don't draw near to only the joyful or the holy or the grateful. You draw near to the tired, to the aching, to the ones sitting in rooms that feel too big and too silent. You draw near to the ones like me. And maybe that's enough for tonight. Not an answer, not a change in circumstances. Just your nearness. Just your presence, like a hand resting near mine. No pressure, no demand. Just here. Just with me. So I stop filling the air with thoughts. I stop trying to make sense of the ache. I just sit in it, and I let you sit with me. I imagine you beside me, not grand or glowing, but gentle, familiar. The kind of presence that feels like exhale, that tells my nervous system it can unclench, that reminds my soul. It's not forgotten. I didn't know I needed this until now. I thought I needed a distraction, a new feeling, a better night. But I think what I really needed was to know that I could feel what I'm feeling and still be loved in it. Needed to know that I could be quiet and it wouldn't make me invisible, that I could be lonely and it wouldn't mean I was unloved. I look around the room and nothing's changed, but everything feels different. Because for the first time tonight, I believe you're really in this room. Not metaphorically, not abstractly, really here. Sitting in the quiet with me. Hearing everything I don't know how to say. Seeing everything I've tried to keep hidden. Not because you're inspecting me, but because you care. Let me rest in that. Let me rest in the truth that I don't have to impress you to keep your attention. That I don't have to be okay for you to stay. That you're not scared of my silence, my sadness, my vulnerability. You draw closer when the lights go out. You settle into the space I thought I had to carry alone. Breathe again. Not because I'm fixed, not because I'm suddenly happy, but because I'm less afraid. Because I feel less alone. Because I believe, maybe for the first time in a while, that this night does not have to be endured. It can be lived through, not perfectly, not with answer, just with presence, with you. And that somehow makes all the difference. Let this room remain quiet. Let it remain sacred. Let it be a place of meeting, not just surviving. Let it hold my thoughts and my tired bones and my sore heart. Let it cradle me, the way a parent cradles a child, not to rush them to sleep, but to remind them they're safe, they're loved, they're not alone in the dark. There's a stillness tonight that feels almost fragile, like one loud sound could shatter it. But nothing loud is coming. The house is quiet. The sky is quiet. And for once, I think even my thoughts are beginning to quiet too. Not because they've run out of things to say, but because something in me is tired of running from the silence. Something in me is starting to see it differently. Not as a punishment, but as a place. A place I've entered. A place you've already been waiting in. It's strange to think of silence like that as a space, not an absence. A space where things soften, where hearts can open, where masks fall away, and something real can finally breathe. That's how this night feels. Like a deep breath, like a soft surrender. Not because I've figured anything out, but because I don't need to. Not here, not now, not with you. There's something holy in how long you've stayed. I've whispered, I've cried, I've said nothing at all, and still you haven't left. You haven't gotten tired of me. You haven't moved on. You're just here, gentle, faithful, patient, not asking me to change, or perform, or rise above the ache, just sitting beside me in it. Letting my quiet be enough. Letting my longing be seen. I keep thinking about how many nights I've tried to push through this kind of silence. How often I've made myself small inside it, afraid it meant I wasn't enough, wasn't interesting enough, important enough, strong enough. But now I'm learning something softer, something true. That silence isn't proof of failure. That loneliness doesn't mean I've done something wrong. That sometimes quiet is just a place where truth gets to speak more clearly. And tonight, that truth sounds like this. I am not alone. I've never been. Not when I turned off the lights and felt the ache rise. Not when I stared at the ceiling and waited for the tension to ease. Not when I rolled to one side, then the other, hoping for comfort. Not when I blinked back tears in a dark room. You were there. You are here, not just watching, but keeping company, holding space, steadying my breath with your nearness. And the more I feel that, the more I let go. Let go of needing to fix this moment. Let go of needing to explain why I feel how I feel. Let go of trying to shape my prayers into perfect language. You're not looking for eloquence. You're not keeping score. You're just showing up, and that kind of love disarms me. It entangles the knots I didn't know I'd tied inside. It lets the tightness unravel, one silent thread at a time. So I lie still, and I let the quiet become a comfort instead of a threat. I let it wrap around me like a blanket. I didn't trust it first, but now it feels warm, safe. Yours. I let my breathing find its own rhythm. I let the sadness be present without controlling me. I let the ache be named without owning me. Because you are here in the middle of it, not trying to erase it, but willing to hold it. There is no pressure in your presence, no urgency, and an invitation to rest, to release, to believe that I don't have to figure it all out before I can feel peace. That peace is not the absence of pain, it's the presence of love that doesn't leave me in it, that doesn't rush me out of it, that simply sits and stays. So stay with me. In this hour, in this space, in this soft undoing that feels more like healing than anything I've known in a long time, let this quiet be a balm. Let this silence be a sanctuary. Let this room be more than four walls and a bed. Let it be a place where love met me when I thought I had nothing left to offer. A place where I was fully known and fully held and fully safe. And if I close my eyes and sleep begins to come, let it be gentle. Let it come without fear. Let it carry me in the same arms that have been holding me all along. And if I don't sleep yet, let this moment still be restful, still be healing, still be holy. You are here. The silence is full. My heart is seen, and I don't have to be afraid anymore. The night is beginning to fade. Now, not completely, not quickly, but in small, almost invisible ways. The softest hint of light pressing against the darkness, the first signs that the world will wake again soon. And yet I'm still here, still breathing into the silence. It's been a long night, not just in time, but in depth, in how far down I've gone into the quiet, into the ache, into the places I usually keep hidden. And somehow, in going deeper, I found something more solid than I expected. Not a solution, not a sudden joy, but a presence that didn't flinch when I said I feel alone, a love that didn't shrink back when I exposed the empty places inside me, a nearness that stayed when I was certain I was too much or not enough. You stayed through the silence, through the ache, through the scattered prayers and the long stretches of just breathing, through the pauses where I had nothing left to say, through the soft unraveling of all the stories I've told myself about what loneliness means. You stayed, and I think that's what healed me most tonight. Not a feeling that replaced the loneliness, but the faithful presence that sat beside it. I no longer need to fill the space. I no longer need to explain the ache away. I no longer need to run from the quiet, because this silence has become sacred. This stillness has become a sanctuary. This hour, once unbearable, has become the place where something beautiful began to grow. You taught me that. You didn't rush me into revelation. You didn't push peace into my hands like a command. You waited until my heart could feel it for itself, that I am held even when I feel hollow, that I am known even when I fall silent, that I am loved even when I don't know what to say in return. I think I'll carry this with me for a long time. The memory of this night, the softness of it, the holiness of being allowed to feel lonely without shame. You met me here without condition. You sat in the dark and didn't try to fix it. You just said, I'm not going anywhere. And you didn't. And even if the ache returns tomorrow, or next week, or next month, I'll remember this moment. I'll remember that you don't fear my emptiness. You don't flinch at my need. You don't leave when the room goes quiet. You enter it, and you fill it, not with noise, but with peace, not with pressure, but with presence. Let that be enough for every night that follows. Let this truth stay rooted in me, even when the silence feels heavy again. That I am not abandoned. That I am never truly alone. That the quiet may come, but so will you. So now, I close my eyes, not in defeat, but in trust. I release this night with gratitude. I exhale the last of my resistance. I turn my face toward the quiet and whisper the same words I began with, but now they feel different. Now they feel holy. I feel lonely in this quiet, but you are in the quiet too, and that has changed everything.